Hi, this is Joel, and I'm going to be walking you through my playbook trade from December 4th, 2018, called Opening Drive Scalp, and the ticker was GBT, Global Blood Therapeutics. Um, okay, big picture. The SPY had been in a big uptrend since roughly November 23rd, and um, yeah, right on the open on this day, the SPY failed 278, really failed 279 level in the pre-market, tried again right when it opened, and then flushed all the way down to eventually 270 before it was holding above 271 at the end of the day. That erased half of the up move that it had been doing since the um, day before Thanksgiving. I don't know that this really impacted my trade very much, but that's the big picture. The landscape is around this ticker that I'm talking about today. They announced on day one when it was in play on the 3rd of December. They announced in the after hours on the 2nd that it had been agreed with the FDA to get an accelerated approval for a new drug or therapy. I don't 100% understand the specifics. Um, to treat sickle cell disease, and this was viewed as positive, and it made kind of a 3 ATR move on Monday um, before holding a key intraday resistance level in the PM in the post market on the same day. So it kind of got up about 3 ATRs, hit a key resistance level, and um, and then it came back down, was holding this key, which I should say support there in the after hours, and then in the pre-market on 12-4. Okay, so you can see the daily chart here. It had been in a downtrend. It had started to maybe reverse. It hit this 44 um, at the time resistance level, came all the way back down to roughly $30, bounced, and then it was gapping up the day before to this 44 level, basically took off and eventually hit $50, which you can see on here is a pretty key, short term, maybe month, kind of like 1 month resistance level, 2 month, before it came back down. Let's see here. There's a 30-minute chart from the first day it was in play. And also apologize, I'm a little bit, my brain's a little bit foggy, just did not get good sleep last night, and I'm kind of trying to get with it. So you can see the day that it was in play, it opened right at 44 before coming up, testing 48, finally closing down, coming down here and hitting off this S1 nicely before bouncing and then making an up move all the way up to that 50 level I talked about before coming off later in the afternoon, and then in after hours kind of holding there below this 47 level, kind of at 46. This is a 30-minute chart, by the way. I didn't really read the tape on this trade. I taped it because I taped the tape of this trade so I could review it later. And I'm having trouble with my screen capture software on my new laptop, so keep trying to get that sorted out so I can try to learn kind of what's the tape show when this happens. But really, I'm not sure what it would show on the tape, but I mean, it kind of just, it's obvious that it's going to approach this level. And as I can get to when I show the actual trade, how it played out, you can see that a couple times it did approach this level before getting beat back down. So anyways, you can see here this 47 level that I tried to get in at. Maybe I should just tell you what my idea was for the trade um, so you can have some context. This is a trade I've been doing recently on second day plays where, I notice it kind of, usually I think it has a positive catalyst, or it had some either a positive catalyst and it was kind of a good long on day one, or maybe it didn't have a positive catalyst but it kind of finished the day strong on day one, kind of near a intraday resistance level. And I don't know, I've been having this good intuition about picking these stocks where it will kind of right on the open get above this level and I can get a quick scalp. So my idea was, okay, it's kind of hovering underneath this 47 level, which you can see, okay, it's not like that important of a level, but you can see one time it got beat back down from here, another time it held the support, another time it held the support, another time it held the support, before kind of holding as resistance in the pre-market. So I thought, okay, maybe it could bounce up here, maybe get up as high as 48. So I set a stop limit order for 40 to trigger at 47.01 with a limit of 47.03. And you can see right in the open it flushed down under 45, came back up, came right up to 47, came back down, touched it again, came back down. I almost scrapped it at this point, thinking like, okay, this is going to be it. And all of a sudden it kind of reversed here, and you could see the volume increasing on this bar and then on this bar. And I thought, okay, here we go. And then kind of like lightning quick, it filled. It was over 47. I set my stop at 46.92 because I got filled at 47.02. And then I quickly put in a limit order for 47.42, and it looked like it was holding. It wasn't coming back down. It had good volume, so I felt good about kind of this thing playing itself out. And eventually it got filled there on that next candle, like maybe a minute later. So some things I did well in this trade was I followed my protocol exactly, that I've been developing. I've literally done this exact same trade now 3 or 4 times, and it works quite well for me. And it's kind of nice to be able to get this quick scalp. I mean, I'll be honest, this time I wasn't as familiar with the setup for this stock. And the day before, I made the same trade with a stock that I had no idea about the setup. It's just that Steve mentioned it was an in-play stock. I looked at the chart quickly before the open because I had prepared actually to trade some other stocks, and I just thought, man, this fits my setup. Did my setup perfectly, made 40 cents, even though on that one, again, if I had developed a thesis for it, I think I would have not taken the 40 cents and let it ride out, and I could have had 2.5 points on that trade. But no matter, it's nice to have a strategy where when you see a setup, you can just execute and get this nice scalp. 40 cents is nothing to shake a stick at, as they would say. But you can see here, if I had thought about it, maybe I would have held a little longer. My target initially was like 47.90 or something like that. But the way it was like gyrating around here on the open, I don't know. So I just kind of wanted to take my profits and get out. And I hadn't thought about it too much after that. So an area of improvement would definitely have been just, having a thesis for this, and kind of figuring out on which of these trades try to take the 40 cents or which ones to just ride out my stop. Something else to consider though is even if you had rode out a stop like on this trade, I've gotten bit before on jumpy stocks, especially ones that are maybe a little light on volume, where you set a stop. I mean, I kid you not, I set a stop the other day on a momentum trade where it jumped 40 or 50 cents, and I set my stop for 25 cents above where I got in, and it kind of fell off so fast that when the stop was triggered, by the time I got filled, I accidentally took a loss of 8 cents on the trade, even though I was 50 cents in the money. So I need to just get a better understanding on these trades for, if I even did in this particular instance, try to incrementally set a stop. So maybe when it got above, 47.40 here, if I had set my stop at 47.50, following this up, when it came back down and hit, depending on where in here I got hit, where would I even gotten filled? So anyways, stuff to consider, but for now, following this has been a consistent, success for me. The only time this trade hasn't worked out for me is when I kind of got ahead of myself and was trying to watch multiple stocks on the open and had multiple orders in, and a situation that I got filled, and I saw it 10-15 seconds later, and then by the time I entered in my stop order, the thing had dropped off 50 cents and I took a rip, where I'm pretty sure had I just entered my order on the like as soon as I got fill, as I've been doing on the times it worked out for me. At worst, I would have gotten, stopped out probably for whatever I'd risked. So I think I've done this now 4 or 5 times, and at least 4 times it's worked out for me. So for now, I'm kind of like happy with this, especially on the open to start the day off with a nice win. Consistently is pretty good. So what I'm going to do going forward is probably figure out how I can just get bigger in this trade, you know, and see how that works for me. See if I can get filled at the types of using this stop limit strategy. If I can even get filled there, if there's enough time to get like 1,000 shares or something. But I'm going to kind of slowly go up. So, anyways, I'm rambling. But anyways, yeah, good trade. Made a um, four to one risk versus reward. Another thing before I'm done here, I guess, is I could probably set my initial risk a lot lower, just based on some trader view results I've been looking at. Let me show you real quick. So here's my here's this chart that I made from output from TraderView today, and you can see on the y-axis this is my maximum adverse excursion in terms of risk units for trades, and on the that's the y-axis. On the x-axis is just my profit and loss on a trade in terms of risk units. And you can see on all my trades except about two, this is from the last 4 days, all my winning trades, typically it doesn't exceed, an eighth of a unit of what I've been risking on a trade. So, and a lot of them, it doesn't draw down at all. So, what I can infer from that is I need to just set a lot tighter stops on my trades, because when I'm right, it looks like I'm pretty right. When I'm wrong, I'm pretty wrong. So if I set bigger stops, all that's going to happen is when I'm wrong, I'm just going to lose more money versus get stopped out of trades that would have otherwise been winners. So that's something on these opening drive scalps. Maybe I want to risk like 5 cents or something like that. And another thing that I do on these trades too is I quickly set my stop up above where I got in. But still, based on this type of graph right here, what I'm going to try to work on in the next few days is just not, setting smaller, tighter stops. Just, I'd save a lot more, uh, in terms of, risk units. Another thing to note is, like, you see all these on here that are over 1 risk unit. I don't let trades ride without setting a stop. So all these stops on here, all these times where it's getting stopped out for 2, or 1.5, 2, 4-ish risk units, that's just I got chopped out. And that's how, that's what happened based on where I set my stop. So, maybe if I set my stops tighter and it was going to not work out, which you could infer a lot of times if it's drawing down even halfway to where I've set my stop, maybe if it gets triggered in here, I can get filled rather than when it gets all the way down here and gets triggered and then slips. So anyways, thank you for listening, if you are, to my playbook trade from today. And, sorry if you don't like the rambling. A lot of this is just kind of cathartic for me to just talk through this and kind of realize for myself kind of how these trades have been going. So anyways, see you next time.